Now we have Professor Odukoya Adelaja, who is the Lagos Zonal Chairman ASUU, who will be joining us via Zoom. Thank you so much for being a part of the news at this time.
Thank you so much.
All right, so quickly, the federal government has inaugurated a 7-man renegotiation committee on the 2009 agreement. What are your thoughts on this? Let's start with that.
Ideally, it should be a thing of joy, but sadly, given the historical trajectory that we have gotten and we have experienced with succeeding governments, particularly the last one, where in quick succession we have 2 negotiation committees set up, with the government at the end of the day sabotaging the same committee that it's willingly set up by not implementing and discarding the reports, does not give any cause for share. But it's interesting to note, and it's instructive, and I think the government will listen to that the chairman of the committee actually urged the government to be ready and willing to accept the report of the negotiation when it is eventually submitted. So it's not about setting up the committee to negotiate. We've had several of that. It's about the government doing the needful, and we hope that this will be different. Thank you.
Right, so ASUU and the federal government are often at loggerheads over agreement and payment. Do you think this step taken by the federal government might change the narrative?
Let me correct. ASUU has never been at loggerheads with anybody. If you have an agreement and a party is not fulfilling that agreement, you blame that party, not the other party. The federal government has not denied that we have an agreement which was signed in 2009 with a proviso that it will be reviewed every 3 years. 3 years from 2009 to now, you know how many years. So we are not at loggerhead with anybody. We have only insisted, and we have seen the result recently. The recent ranking of universities with only one, even a private university, in the first 1,000. If that's not a shame for Nigeria, then I wonder what it is. So it is the government doing the needful, and we are saying, just like I've said, it is hope that it is not just the issue of setting up the negotiation committee. It's this time around, we only hope we are not just buying time again. It is just about, it should be about implementing the agreement when it is signed, so that our university could get back to their pride of place and become once again globally competitive. It's a shame that Nigerian students will be migrating in their thousands to lesser countries, even within the West African coast, and that we are actually subsidizing and financing other countries' education, where our own is actually in serious deterioration. And that we hope will be revised if the right thing is done by the government.
All right, so lastly, what would be your advice to the federal government and the renegotiation committees moving forward?
The federal government should negotiate. We hope the team will negotiate on behalf of the government in good faith. And we have never had problems, particularly with the last 2 negotiation committee. They did their best. It was just the first one under 2017 under Dr. Wale Babalake that was notorious for trying to actually put barricades and impose neoliberal agenda on the issues at stake. But for the new committee, we want to believe, given the pedigree of those who are there, that they will be patriots and they will be sincere and negotiate and do this speedily, because time is actually ticking out. We are actually within the university system. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. The result of the ranking that we have just heard about is just a tip of the iceberg of what is actually going on. So we hope the government, when the negotiation is concluded, we equally sincerely implement it to the last letter.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us at this time, Prof. We really appreciate.
My pleasure. Have a good evening.
All right, and that was Professor Odukoya Adelaja, the legal zonal chairman of ASUU. And now moving on to the rest of the stories.